Okay. I'm live, but you are just a blue screen. Oh, wait, there you are.
Yeah, I just turned that back on.
Okay.
Hey,
Okay, live. And we have one viewer.
Woo!
Woo! Okay. I love technology.
Yeah, for real. It makes it very easy.
Yeah. Super easy. Good morning.
I'll be right back.
Who's here?
Uh-oh.
What's wrong?
I just turned on the stream. Uh-oh. Now it's going to be loud. Oops. There we go. Okay, I'll be right back.
Okay, I'll be here.
Whoop.
I lost a viewer already. Oh, there we go. We're up to 3. Good morning, everybody. Who's here? Hi, Bridget. My mommy says hi. Hello to Bridget's mommy. Hi, Reagan. Hope you all did the reading. I guess you probably did the reading. Otherwise, why would you be here? That wouldn't make a whole lot of sense. I'm up to 9 viewers. Woo! Who's all here? I see Bridget and I see Reagan. That's all I got so far. Hi, Vivian. I'm going to give everybody about 5 minutes. Hi, Lizette. We're going to give everybody about 5 minutes to get logged in, or 4 more minutes or whatever, till about 11:05 or so. Hi, Sam. I'm echoing. Am I echoing to everybody? Good job, Reagan. Oh, I bet I know why I'm echoing. It's probably on Elster's end, but he just left to go to the bathroom, I'm betting. I am echoing. Yeah, you have an echo. I think the echo will go away once he turns off some particular sound. Sorry. I'm trying not to talk since I'm echoing, and I'm especially trying not to talk too loud. His daughter is at daycare. She goes to daycare still every day. Dog? Do you see the dog? You see him over in the window? We'll see both of them. Well, hello, doggies. Oh, are you gonna come see mommy? Come here. What was that? You come over to me and then you. Oh. Say hello, dog. Tootsie. Tootsie here.
Hey-o.
Apparently, we're echoing.
Good. No, I'm sorry. That's no good.
So I don't know if that's on your end or mine.
I don't hear it.
I don't hear the echoing either.
Oh, I think that was only for, when was it? Because I had my volume up on the live thing.
I don't know.
Is it now?
Are we still echoing? Guys, let us know. Okay, apparently we're good now.
Tight.
Everybody say hi to Tootsie.
Hey, Tootsie.
Bridget's like, I want to see his daughter. And I'm like, she's at daycare.
Yeah, she was going to stay today and then didn't.
That probably would have been a nightmare.
Yeah, well, it would have been all right. Like we had it all figured out, but we just reread the text message and we're like, oh no, she's not closed today.
Oh,
Well, that's good.
well, that's good.
Yeah, Reagan says we're still echoing.
Connors is lagging.
What does
Like
that mean?
it's Sam. Oh.
What is happening? There we go. Oops. Still echoing. Are we? Where are we at? Where are we at? We hear Connor speak twice.
Okay, so that means I need to turn something off on my end, but I don't know what that is.
Is
Oh, I think her sound is picking up on Elster's side before it happens on the video. Yeah, because our video is about 15 seconds behind where we are in the conversation.
I don't have my volume on anything.
Okay, so what do I need to turn my volume off on my end?
Maybe
Do I
is
mute?
YouTube volume off? Like everything that isn't the Skype conversation, if you can.
How do I turn my volume off on YouTube? Oh yeah, I'm muted on YouTube.
Oh, word. Hmm. Desktop audio. Oh, maybe mic NDI source 1. Source 6. I don't know. Mute the Skype call? That won't work. I don't know. How's it now?
Because technically, that's how he and I are communicating is via Skype. We're not actually communicating via YouTube.
Right. This is good content.
Yeah, great content.
Desktop, so I don't. What the heck? Is it still? Like, that sucks. I'm on. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna watch it. Like, that sucks. I'm on. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna watch it. Yeah, it does sound like it's coming from me. Yeah, it does sound like it's coming from me.
I'm scared to talk because I know I'm going to echo. Echo,
Oh,
echo.
now you definitely will, because I pulled my headphones out.
Oh. I'm scared to talk because I know I'm going to echo. Echo.
Now you definitely will, because I pulled my headphones out. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Can y'all still hear the echo? I don't. Now you definitely will, because I pulled my headphones out. Oh, maybe not. I don't know. Can y'all still hear the echo? I don't. Oh, maybe not.
The beauty of waiting for our video.
Yeah.
Dang it! Still have the echo.
Some things never
For our
change.
video.
Yeah.
Dang it! Still have the echo.
Well, is it distracting? Because
Maybe I just won't talk.
that sucks. Alright, what up, what up, what up? Can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. What do... Oh, maybe this works? I don't know. This is how I had it last time, I think. Well,
The echo is so weird. It happens right before you speak, and then it happens a few seconds after, but then it repeats the first seconds of conversation. What in the world?
what is going on, son?
Hi, Cam. You woke up this time.
Yay! Oh my goodness. What is going on, son?
Hi, Cam. You woke up this time.
Yay!
Well, do we try to start a new stream and see if that does anything?
What's this? Um, yeah, maybe. I don't know. I just tried something, so let's see how it goes.
Just for me. Oh.
How it is now. Miss Connors, will you say something?
Hello.
Gone!
It's gone?
Woo!
It's gone on your end. Let's see if it's gone on their end. It's gone! It's gone! It's gone! Wait, talk.
Hooray!
Wait, oh no.
What?
I'm still talking.
Huzzah!
I think Elster fixed it. Woo!
I'm a genius! Oh gosh, that's frustrating.
Alright,
Okay.
gone now. Yay! Whatever you did.
Hooray!
All right. Well, welcome to our 15 viewers. Oh, hello, Kayla. Wow, I know who that is.
Yo, what up, fam? Make sure you smash that like and subscribe button.
Wow, really?
I don't think I've ever actually watched a YouTube video, but like just hearing about them,
Yeah,
that's what I gather. They all start with something like that, like, "Yo, yo, yo, what up, fam? It's your old pal, Mr. Elster, here to talk about our lit bro, Monte Cristo. All right, make sure you smash that like and subscribe button." I think it's like that.
Oh, yeah. Well, hello, all you cool cats and kittens. I spent my weekend watching Tiger King.
I was just about to ask that.
Oh, yeah. Totally watched it like all within a day.
No, just like you said, hello, my cool cats and kittens. It's like, did she just say that, or did
Yes,
she
I
definitely
did.
watched it?
Yes, I did. And some people on here are like, what is she talking about?
Goodness.
You'd have to watch Tiger King.
Oh, that was such a wild story, man.
It is. It's wild like Count of Monte Cristo is wild.
Dude, for real, what a segue. That segue brought to you by bicycles.
Oh, all right. So let's start since we're 12 minutes after 11.
Yeah, right? We need to make sure we put a note in the description of, yeah, start this at like 13 minutes because nothing happens for a while.
Hi, Michaela. Okay. Clap in the chat. Okay. All right. Well, let's talk about the Count of Monte Cristo. So hopefully, if you're here, you have been reading and or listening or doing something so that you can follow along or pay attention to this conversation, because this conversation probably isn't going to make a whole lot of sense to you if you haven't been reading.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do a little bit about content, but the book isn't as confusing now as it's going to get.
Yeah, the first 80 pages make the most sense.
Yeah.
If you understand French history and like general courtship politics of the time.
Yeah, exactly. Like the fact that they're having betrothal feasts and stuff. You're like, what are betrothal feasts? Do you guys know what a betrothal feast is or what a betrothal is? Because it deals with engagements and weddings and things like that. It's basically, the whole thing was so confusing. Kennedy, I know. I know. The first 80 pages especially is kind of crazy and kind of confusing. It's like I like when he gets arrested. Nice.
Jeez.
Well, you're not wrong. It's kind of it is kind of interesting. I fell asleep while reading. Please fill me in. Well, we're going to be filling in. I don't know how far you got, but I guess we will. It's like a wedding party. Good. All right, let's just start at the beginning. Here's my book. Here's my copy of The Count of Monte Cristo. You like all the...
Dang.
All my Post-it notes?
Mine looks super weak. It just has a bookmark in there.
Well,
that's what a real reader's book
really
looks like.
Or not. I also write all over it.
Yeah, that's what...
Here. Okay, so let's just start at the beginning. So, where should we start? The fact that we have Edmond Dantes, our main character.
I like him. He's so cool.
Yeah.
He's just such a great dude. He's what I wished I was like when I was 20.
Right? Because he seems to have his head on pretty straight. He seems just like he seems to be a good person, and seems to be pretty responsible.
Yeah.
Responsible, in fact, that when his captain is dying and he has a dying wish, Edmond, being the good guy that he is, agrees to go through with this dying wish without questioning it.
Not opening the letter, not doing anything, not saying who's this for.
No.
But like that's I don't know, the kind of loyalty you want in like a sailor, like your number 2 guy, especially back then when it's wild, like you just want him to listen to you and know what to do. So
yeah, absolutely. So I have in my hand, I have an envelope. So, well, I guess we go back. Edmond's a sailor and his captain is dying. I don't think the captain intentionally set him up. I think the captain had a mission that he was going to go through, but then when he got sick, he couldn't do it. It would be like if I got the coronavirus and I couldn't finish teaching you guys, Mr. Elster would take over and teach you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it wasn't, it's not necessarily out of a bad way or a dishonest way. I think it just happened that it was a little bit illegal. Well, it was a lot illegal.
Mm-hmm. For the times, yeah.
Times. Yeah.
A lot of coincidences happen around Edmond getting arrested.
There are so many of these coincidences, and there's so many things where you have to be like, really, dude?
Yeah.
Really?
It's just like, man, that sucks.
Okay. So this envelope, the first letter he gets is to that one that's supposed to go to Napoleon. Okay. So we have a letter that says to Napoleon, and this one is from the captain, whose name is Captain Leclerc. But so the captain has this letter. Edmond is supposed to deliver this letter to Napoleon. And what ends up happening is Napoleon gives him a different letter to deliver. And this is where people get confused because there are 2 different letters. There's 2 different letters. The second letter is from Napoleon, but, well, and it doesn't actually say who it's to because it's blank on the outside. It's blank on the outside because it's got secret information in it. So like the address and the name and things like that, Edmond has to memorize. But it is from Napoleon to a guy named Nortier, whose name I misspelled on here. Sorry.
Nortier.
Nortier, yeah. If you are not paying attention, you have to make sure that, well, if you have to figure out who Nortier is, because they mention it like this, like split second. The second one goes to Nortier, correct. Who is Nortier, though? Because if you don't know who Nortier is, and it was mentioned briefly in the conversation where Villefort was having his betrothal feast, and they talk about his dad and how his dad has different political views from Villefort, dramatically different political views.
Villefort is a royalist where Nortier is a Bonapartist. Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
Sorry, for a second I was like, no, that's backwards, but no, you're right.
Villefort's dad, yeah. It's Villefort's dad.
Villefort's dad is in favor of Napoleon, but is Napoleon on the throne right now? No.
Nah.
He has been kicked out, and he is over chilling on the Isle of Elba.
With Idris.
Wow.
That's a callback to last week's episode.
He's over on Elba. Yeah, you got to know this French history. You got to know the fact that Napoleon was the emperor, or the king, basically, for like 15 years. Then he gets kicked out, and he gets pushed over to this Isle of Elba, which is off the coast of Italy. And which, if you know your geography, Italy and France are still like
very close,
super close to each other. But he gets kicked out, and he ends up over on the Isle of Elba, where he is still communicating, albeit illegally, with different people, thanks to messages and hidden delivery system type thing. But this letter to Nortier is the problem. This is what makes Edmond Dantes go to jail.
Yes.
Why?
Well, they said it. They all know he's Villefort's dad, but Villefort is terrified of like losing his position in life. He's a up and coming lawyer who wants to be a royalist and is loyal to the king, but his dad is not, and his dad's reputation might harm his chances at moving up in society.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. So if his dad is going to affect his chances of moving up in society, he doesn't want to be associated with his dad, which is why he goes by a different last name. But everybody knows that Nortier is his dad anyway. So if this letter goes public,
Nortier, or not Nortier, Villefort he's donezo probably.
Yeah. Nobody's gonna trust him, especially if he lets Edmond Dantes go when Edmond Dantes had a letter of communication to Nortier from Napoleon. If they let Edmond Dantes go, it looks like he is letting a treasonist, is that the right word?
Yeah, maybe.
Whatever, a person.
Treasoner.
A treasonist. Looks like he's letting him go. It looks like he's helping Napoleon, or helping his dad, who is a fan of Napoleon. So even though he was going to let Edmund go and thought that Edmund was innocent, he realizes, oh crap, I can't. Because if this story ever gets out,
I am screwed.
I am screwed completely. I'm losing everything that I've worked hard for. So not only does he take Edmund and throw him into jail, okay,
he puts him in the worst jail.
And now, not just jail, he throws him into the worst jail.
Oh man, you guys should look up, if you haven't, the Chateau d'If. It is like a tiny island prison that was a castle that, like, there's no way to or from really except by boats, and even then it's really unsafe, like rocky waters, and yeah, it's a neat looking prison.
It's beautiful, and you can actually visit it. It's a tourist attraction now. You can actually go, and it's off the coast of Marseille, France, and you can visit it.
And Edmund's cell, I think they like recreated it because it's the only reason that it is famous.
Okay, he could be seen as a hero for destroying information from Napoleon too. Absolutely.
Alcatraz, the prequel, exactly.
Absolutely. It is kind of like Alcatraz. And Reagan, you're right, but they didn't have to read past the first 80 pages. So it's altogether possible that they stopped at the 80. Some of it does get explained a little bit more past that 80 pages. But so
Yes.
anyway,
Well, should we? I feel like we jumped way far ahead.
should we go back?
I think, yeah, just to get like a basic plot out there.
Okay, go back.
All right, so yeah, it just starts in. We meet Edmund. He's the best person alive, and we meet Danglers, who we don't know much about. Just that he doesn't like Edmund, but Edmund puts his personal feelings aside. He's not the biggest fan of Danglers, but he thinks he's a good purser who's like the accountant for the ship.
Yeah.
And I think that says a lot about Edmund personally. Just like he can be strictly professional, not immature about it, put his feelings aside, and give a honest opinion about the guy he doesn't really care for.
Yeah, and he can still work. The fact that he can work with somebody he doesn't care for speaks a lot for his personality. It's hard to work with somebody that you don't like. You guys all know this. Mm-hmm. So imagine not just having to go to work with somebody, but imagine being stuck on a boat for months at a time with somebody that you don't like.
Or like 40 people you don't like. Yeah, that's how my experience in the Navy was.
Oh, yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Reading these first couple chapters and just getting back into Navy terminology and stuff, I was like, oh, yeah, I know all that stuff.
I didn't even think about that.
But so Danglers knows about the letter. He knows about LeClaire, and he's suspicious.
He knows about the first letter.
Right.
He knows about the first letter that goes from Napoleon.
From LeClaire to Napoleon.
To Napoleon from Captain LeClaire. Yeah, he knows about this letter, and he knows about the second letter that he gets in response.
Mm-hmm.
So he knows about both. Well, basically, you would assume that he knows about both.
Mm-hmm. And then Morrell, he owns the shipping company that they all work for, and he seems like a pretty good boss. Yeah, it's a good dude to work for. Yeah, imagine being stuck on a boat. It's neat, but it also sucks.
Do we like Morrell?
I like him.
Yeah.
He seems like a reasonable dude. Like, it doesn't give you too much information, I guess, on him other than like Edmund likes him.
Yeah. Yeah. So it would appear that Morrell is a good guy. But it also appears that Morrell is a Bonapartist because he refers to Napoleon. When he finds out that Edmund made a stop at the Isle of Elba, he says specifically, he goes, "How was the emperor?" Now, the fact that he calls him the emperor means that he's kind of on Napoleon's side.
Mm-hmm.
Later on, there are some people who refer to Napoleon as the usurper. And that's the term they use for people who don't like Napoleon, who are royalists. Mm-hmm. So you got to kind of pay attention. So Morrell is in a weird situation where he has a position of some power, some wealth because he's a boat owner, but he also appears to be a Bonapartist, which is not exactly the best idea in the current political climate and could affect his ability to run his business.
Mm-hmm.
So he has to be careful about that as well. All right, bye, Sam. Watch us later.
Later. All right, so after that, he gets back in, and Edmund really wants to see his dad. He hasn't seen his dad in a long time, so he runs home and finds out that he's been pretty much living destitute because Caderousse made him pay back a bill that he owed.
Yeah. Caderousse is the neighbor.
Yeah. So yeah, he owed him like 200, just like a pretty low amount of money, and then just demanded it. And so he was just living as thriftily as he could.
Yeah, Edmund had left his dad. It talks about it in terms of francs, I believe, but let's just say dollars because it'll be easier to understand.
Mm-hmm.
Edmund, when he left, said or
140.
left his dad like $200.
Mm-hmm.
But he owed Cataros $140. So right after Edmund leaves, Cataros comes to collect money from Monsieur or Louis Dantes, Edmund's dad,
Mm-hmm.
and says, "Listen, if you don't pay me, then I'm going to go get my money back from Edmund's boss."
And that would make Edmund look bad for not taking care of his dad, even though he did. So did Edmund always not like Catarus? I don't think he particularly liked him, but
He probably did at one time.
yeah, I don't think he hated him, but just like um, they would work together, but it was just like I know that guy, we're not friends.
Yeah. I mean, he lent him money, so they must have been in a situation where they were close enough to agree to lend him that much money.
Hmm.
But he when he comes back and finds out that Cataros came and collected that money, he is livid.
Yeah, he's like, my dad is an old man. Like, what do you expect him to do? Like, I could have paid you back easily when I got back. Like, you jerk. But even after that, he's like, but you can still come in my house. I'm still going to treat you with respect.
Yeah.
Like, Edmund's just the best dude.
Edmund is really forgiving. He maybe shouldn't have been so forgiving to Cataros, but he is. He's like,
Hmm.
"Yep." He's like, "You know what? What's done is done, and I don't like the way you handled it, but we're gonna move on, and we're gonna be fine." And yeah, I got
It's
things.
the Oh, sorry. No, it's like Edmund's just so forgiving, and that's one of the main themes in this book is forgiveness and how to forgive and when and uh, if you're deserving of it. And uh, Edmund sees everybody as deserving and worthy of forgiveness. Like he's like, oh man, Catarus must have just needed it, and like that's what happens. Give him the benefit of the doubt.
Logan's read ahead.
All right, so after that, he sees his dad. Now he needs to go see his fiance Mercedes.
Oh, Mercedes.
Mercedes rules.
Wow.
Uh, and so we get that little scene with Mercedes and her other soother. Time out.
Time out for a second, though.
Mm-hmm.
Because before he actually goes to see Mercedes, Danglars ends up meeting up with Cataros, who he is.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
It just so happens that Danglars and Cataros meet up, and they're talking, and they're both kind of talking about how they're not a big fan of Edmond Dantes, and Cataros is like, "Well, guess what? Edmund's about to have a real bad time because he's going to go to see his lady, and his lady has been hanging out with another dude for the last 3 months. So he's going to have a real ugly surprise for him." And
Mm-hmm.
Danglars is like, "Sweet, let's go watch from the bar
Oh yeah.
door
And they get drunk at the bar next door, right?
in the outdoor like beer garden so
Yeah.
that they can watch the breakup happen." They literally go to watch the breakup happen.
Yeah.
They're that
This is
petty.
like middle school stuff.
Yes, yes, you know the
They're
fight's gonna happen.
Yeah, they're so petty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, they go and we see Fernanda and Mercedes talking, and he's like, "Man, I love you so much. You're the best girl." And she's like, "Thanks, but thanks, but no thanks. You're one of my very best friends, but I love Edmund so much. He's so great."
Now, Lizeth, we need to address what you brought up there. Yes, technically, Mercedes and Fernand are some level of cousins.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, this was during a time when you didn't know that marrying cousins was bad. Um, they didn't know that incest would lead to major birth defects and things like that. So you're just going to have to get past the fact that Fernand is her cousin and just assume that Fernand is a neighbor.
Hmm.
And there's a lot of pressure for them to be together because they are of the same ethnic background.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like if you are an immigrant to the United States, there would be a certain amount of pressure for you to find somebody of the same background, even though you're in the United States. And if you've ever had pressure put on you to date within your race, for instance, it's that same type of thing. So yeah. So anyway, Fernand is like, baby, I love you. And
She's like, nah.
I've told you over and over and over, I love you like a brother.
Yeah. Man, that's gotta suck to hear.
Yeah. And he's like, well, what? He's like, what if something happens between you and Edmund? Are you going to love him forever? She says, I will love him for the rest of my life. I will love him until I die.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, whatever, that's stupid. You should be with me.
And then storms off like a little boy.
Well, before he storms off.
Oh, Edmund shows up, and Edmund is the same cool Edmund we know and love. He's just like, oh, what up? Yeah, I heard about you. If Mercedes loves you like a brother, then I love you like a brother, no matter what.
And he tries to shake his hand, and the guy won't shake his hand or anything. So he totally gets the bad vibe from him.
Yeah.
But he still acts cool. Because that's who Edmund is. He's like, whatever, I don't get a good vibe from you, but I'm going to treat you nicely because if Mercedes likes you and I love Mercedes, that's what I'm going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But
man, it's so great.
It is so great.
Edmund rules. He's the kind of person I want.
Yeah. But no, so then, just like you said, what does Fernand do?
Yeah, he storms off and he runs into Catarus and Danglars drinking at the bar, and they're like, "Hey, come over here." Catarus is just drinking and drinking. He gets real drunk.
He's super.
And they start coming up with a plan to ruin Dantes' life, right?
Yeah. Speaking of yet another letter. Okay. So now what they do is those three end up sitting at the bar drinking, and they start writing an anonymous letter to the authorities, basically, to the police, which says what?
They're saying Dantes is some Bonapartist, crook, conspirator. You need to go investigate him. He is about to be up to some bad stuff.
Yeah. And it's not that Fernand is too trustworthy, it's that Edmund is too trustworthy.
I think in talking to, when he goes and talks to Catarus and Danglars, it's like they all know each other. They're all aware of each other, and they're not all complete strangers.
Correct. So now we have another letter. This letter is to the police from Anonymous, and it says, go check out Edmond Dantes. We think that he met with Napoleon and is trying to help Napoleon escape from the Isle of Elba. So this is where things get super confusing because we've got multiple letters. We have the letter that was to Napoleon from the captain. That one's done and over with. That one's been read, and the response was written to Noirtier from Napoleon. Has Edmund had a chance to deliver this letter? No.
No.
He has to go to Paris to deliver this letter. So this letter is still in his stuff right now.
Mm-hmm.
This other letter that goes to the police from Anonymous
gets sent off to
and eventually finds its way to Villefort,
who's like the county prosecutor. He's like the district attorney of Marseille.
Yep. And so he gives the order to have Edmund arrested on suspicion of treason and to have his stuff searched. And when his stuff gets searched, this letter is discovered.
Yep. And while Villefort's questioning him, he he's like, it was so heartbreaking. Vilfort seemed so cool. He was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna investigate this. No, Edmund's not guilty. He didn't know what was going on. Da 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 da. All right, who was that letter to? We'll have to look into that. He's like, oh, I had to memorize it. It was to a guy named Nortier.
Yep.
And that's when it all comes crashing down. And he's like, gosh,
Yeah.
that's my dad. Can't let this get out. Gotta shut this dude up right now.
Vilfort was going to let him go. He really was. He was going to let him go. But
he was almost a good cop.
He almost was a good guy. And then the whole dad thing gets brought up. And so he takes this letter, the one that was supposed to go to Nortier from Napoleon. This is the evidence against Edmond Dantes. This is what would prove or disprove Edmund's guilt or like hurt or help his case.
Mm-hmm.
And what does Vilfort do with this?
Burns it.
Burns it. This thing's done. It's gone.
No one else ever gets to see it.
Nobody gets to see it. Nobody knows about this letter except for Napoleon, Edmund, and Vilfort.
Mm-hmm.
So
paper was invented.
Yes.
This is in the 1815? Yeah.
1815. Yeah.
Yeah, paper was invented like in BCE.
Well, yeah, and the people knew how to write in 1815. I mean, the book was written not that far after that.
No.
So, anyway, the only letter that is in existence right now is this one that was written by Anonymous to the public prosecutor that says go.
Yes. And then we get to Edmund in prison. He spends 6 years just praying. He has total faith in God. He believes that he'll be protected. He'll be vindicated. And nothing happens after 6 years of just being alone in the cell. Oh man, I forgot to say just like why he ends up in the cell. Like that. Like he's in a regular cell, more comfortable, and then he says the wrong thing to one of the guards. I think he says he's going to hit him with a chair or something if he doesn't let him out.
Yeah, he basically threatens him. He's like, I'm supposed to get out. This is wrong. This is wrong. Let me out or I'm going to go crazy. And you'll see, like, Edmund gets mad.
Yes, he did get arrested from the letter that Ferdinand wrote.
Yes.
At his engagement party the day before he was going to get married.
Yeah. So he gets arrested at his engagement party the day before he's going to get married. It just so happens there's an irony there because Edmund gets arrested at his engagement party and Vilfort was at his own engagement party. He was supposed to get married to a woman named Renee de Saint-Méran. They were both having their own engagement parties at the same time across town from each other. So there's a little bit of irony in that, a little bit of coincidence in that they're both at their engagement parties.
Yeah.
When this all goes down. And it's the difference between a Bonapartist engagement, well, not a Bonapartist, but a royalist engagement party, and then kind of a non-political engagement party.
You could see the class differences. Like Dantes is at a bar, Vilfort's is at like their mansion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, so they go, he's in prison after 6 years. He loses his faith, kind of, and then goes on a hunger strike for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It can't have been very long, I don't think. I don't know how long you can go on a hunger strike for without dying, but probably close to like a month.
But yeah, he was basically planning on killing himself.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rick.
And he gets...
Stop.
On like the last day before he was gonna die, he hears like a scratching or something on the other side of the wall, and that is his reason to live. He thinks he hears someone digging or scraping at the wall, and he's like, "Oh, there must be someone close, so I should live so I can talk to him." So he keeps talking to him, uh, or he starts eating again, and then he ends up making contact with Abe Faria.
Yeah. So here's the thing. This is what gets people kind of confused in the book. Those 6 years go by super fast, and you don't realize that it's been 6 years. It reads like it's been 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not until he actually meets Abe Faria that he finds out that it's been 6 years, because Abe Faria is like, well, what year did you come to the prison? And he told him, but he's like, I don't know what year it is now. Abe Faria has been keeping track of what year it is. And so Abe Faria is like, wow, it's been 6 years since he came to the prison.
Yeah.
And Edmund's like, 6 whole years? Holy moly. And as a reader,
Yeah.
if you aren't paying attention, you don't realize that over the course of like 4 pages has been 6 years.
Yeah. And, like, this is so relatable now. Like, we've been stuck inside for like 2 weeks now, and I swear to God, I thought it was May.
Right.
Like,
Right? I mean, technically, we're
yeah,
still in March. March is the longest month ever, apparently.
dude, yeah. Oh, there's a whole nother day left in March. But
Yeah. Like, I can't
yeah,
handle it.
yeah, Kennedy, you're right. Faria is super smart. He's like a genius. What does he have? He made a ladder. He has a book he wrote. What is his book about? Oh my gosh, it's some crazy like high thought concept of Italian royalty or something.
Yeah, it's basically, God, I can't even remember off the top of my head, but
Yeah,
it's basically about, um, it's a political analyzation of the Italian royalty and corruption in their government and things like that.
yeah,
Basically, it was enough that he could have gotten arrested for it.
yeah. What else? And he is the crazy guy that everybody's heard of. That uh, he told the guards, "Yo, let me go. I'm like a millionaire. Like, come on." And nobody believes him. They all think he's crazy. And so does Edmund for a long time. He doesn't believe the treasure's real. He's like, no, no way about this.
Yep. So Abe Faria says, right, like, there's this story, and it gets confusing about this treasure.
Yeah.
And again, you have to kind of suspend your sense of disbelief in order to believe this story from the book. Basically, it turns out that before Abe Faria got arrested,
Oh yeah.
there was, and this whole thing, this whole background of the treasure is confusing,
I got so lost.
right? Basically, this treasure was passed down from family member to family member, but they didn't know it.
Yes.
So back in the day, the church was super corrupt, and you had people who were buying positions in the church. I don't know why I said buying in quote markers. They were
They were.
positions in the church. Why would you want to have a position in the church? Because if
It was
you were
pretty
in
much royalty.
clergy, then you didn't have to pay taxes.
So if you had a big, rich family and the head of that family was a cardinal or a bishop or something, hey, they get to keep all their money.
Yep, they don't have to pay taxes. So anyway, basically the church was corrupt, and it accepted these payments for people to become members of the church. But the church was so corrupt, there was a pope that was trying to kill some of these people who had bought positions, because
Mm-hmm.
then their fortunes would go to the church.
And this is like I'm pretty sure like it's like historical fiction. Like all of that is true. Like I think they talk about the Medici's and stuff, and that family had a very big role in the church.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So basically, let's break this story down.
there was corruption, and this guy who had bought a position in the church knew that there was going to be a potential assassination attempt on his life. So he hid all of his treasure, he hid all of his money, and he wrote on a piece of paper where he had hidden the treasure, but he wrote it with invisible ink. And he stuck that piece of paper into a book. Okay? Piece of paper goes into a book, just like a scratch piece of paper into a book, and it stays with the books in his library for years and years and years and years and generation after generation after generation. And it gets passed down. Nobody can find this treasure. Nobody knows where he put it. Well, that's because nobody has found this piece of paper with map, basically, or with the instructions on where this treasure is. The family that it belongs to, the Spada family, eventually dies out.
Yeah.
And the last Spada left all of his books to his dear friend. And his dear friend was...
Abbe Faria.
Yeah. And so Abbe Faria one night is working in his library, and he's surrounded by all these books. And this was back before they had electricity. And so he
accidentally lights that piece of paper on fire.
Yeah, he accidentally grabs this piece of paper and lights it on fire, only to find out, or only to realize as it's burning, that writing is showing up on this piece of paper.
So, whoa.
Yeah, so he puts it out, push out all the flames, and sees half of the treasure instructions, and somehow figured out the other half of the treasure instructions.
He just did. He could figure it all out from the half of it, yeah.
You know, it makes perfect sense. This is the first time for me in this book where I have to be like, really?
Yeah. With such accuracy.
Say what you were going to say?
Oh, just with such accuracy, he can just put together all these burned out words.
Yeah. You have to suspend your beliefs, like your, what do they call it? Suspension of...
disbelief.
Mm-hmm. Because you're like, no way would that work. No way would that work, but you're just going to have to accept it and move on. Somehow he made it work.
Sure, he had 2/3, whatever.
Yeah, he had 2/3, something like that. Either way, he had part of the note, he figured out the rest of the note, and he's like, ooh, I'm going to go get the treasure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then
but then
he gets arrested. I forget for what. Some political thing.
It's because of the book that he wrote.
Oh, okay.
It's because of that book that he wrote, because it was treasonistic, or it was treasonous.
Treason light.
Yeah, I'm just making up words as I go on. It was treasonous, and he got arrested for treason and put into prison before he could go get the treasure.
Mm-hmm.
And so he has found the treasure still.
He's just in prison, stewing away. That secret will die with him. But he gives it to Edmund because they plan to break out soon. And they come up with their plan. They're going to dig under the door, under the guards, and collapse the floor and kill the guards and run out.
Yeah, and you're right. Italy thought he left too suspiciously, and so they arrested him.
Yeah, so even dumber than what we said. So they have this grand plan to escape. It takes several more years to dig under the tunnel, and throughout that whole time, Faria's teaching Desmond everything he can, a bunch of languages, just economics, yeah, just every single thing you could know and learn from someone. he teaches Edmund while they're digging this tunnel. Until like they get done with it and more or less, and they're about to go through with it, and Abbe Faria has a seizure, which causes him to put it on hold because he is like bedridden. He gets paralyzed from it, like half of his body can't move.
They call it a cataleptic fit.
Mm-hmm.
But the way they describe it, it sounds a lot like a stroke to me, because he ends up that he can't move like half of his body.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's basically, it has something to do with his brain, and it affects whether or not he can move part of his body. And he knows enough. He's studied this. It's also been a part of his family history. He knows that he's going to have another one, and that it will kill him.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
No, an important for later. He has that little potion where just like a drop will heal you or keep you from dying, or that is just like a thing that shows up throughout the book, just like this little cure-all.
There are a lot of little things that show up once and then come back up into the story again. So this red liquid, pay attention to it because it will come back.
Yeah. Excuse me. So yeah, the priest is like, okay, you go do it. You're gonna have to kill somebody, and that sucks, but just do it. And Edmund's like, no, I can't leave you. I'm not gonna leave you here. And he's like, well, I can't go, so might as well fill the hole back in, because if it collapses, they're gonna know we know each other, and they're gonna come fill in these holes, and it's gonna be bad it's gonna suck more.
Yes. So let's focus on that. Edmund is given this treasure, basically. He is told, go get this treasure. Leave me here to die and go get this treasure on your own. And Edmund refuses to
He's still the best guy.
He is the best guy. He refuses to leave Abbe Faria alone. He's like, no, I would rather not escape than leave you by yourself.
Yeah.
And so then he has to, after all that time of digging the tunnels, he has to fill in their escape patch.
That's 8 years.
8 years of digging. And he has to fill it in so that it's not found, so that it doesn't collapse.
Mm-hmm. Dantes is a real one.
Yeah, he is a real one. And so he fills that in, and unfortunately, Abbe Faria
dies anyway.
What happened.
Yeah.
He has another cataleptic fit, only this time he is dying from it.
Mm-hmm.
And does he die in this one? I can't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Edmund tries to save him with all the red liquid.
Mm-hmm.
But
there's nothing he can do.
Yeah, nothing he can do, and Abbe Faria dies.
And then Edmund comes up with a real quick plan. Like the guards come in, they see Faria's dead. They put him in the burial cloth. It's just like a pillowcase.
Mm-hmm. Like a potato sack or something, a body bag.
Yeah, and because they're lazy or something, they're just like, nah, we're not going to carry him up yet. It's whatever, it doesn't matter. And Edmund takes that as his opportunity to escape. He cuts Abbe Faria's body out of the sack and puts him in his room on his bed, so it looks like he's sleeping. And then he sews himself up in the sack to get out. He thinks that they're going to bury all the dead people, and then he's going to get buried, wait a little bit until he knows everybody's gone, and then just kind of dig himself out. And it works more or less. They're carrying him up. He's real scared. That was an interesting scene, because I definitely would have moved or something, or if they dropped him on the stairs or anything like that. But Chateau d'If is a tiny island. There's no room to bury people, And man, I love the last line of on page 80 in the books. The last line that you were supposed to read is just the sea is the cemetery of Chateau d'If.
Yeah, so like he thinks he's
Perfect.
going to be able to break out of this body bag because he's going to a cemetery and he's going to have an opportunity to either dig his way out or fight his way out of the body bag or something. What he doesn't realize is that there is no cemetery. They throw the dead into the sea
With a cannonball tied to him. And
with a
just,
cannonball tied to him.
man,
So that is how your reading ended, is when Edmund gets tossed into the sea with a cannonball tied to him or chained to him or whatever. No, I think it was tied to him.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah, I don't want to go on, but
yeah.
he has a cannonball tied to him. What a cliffhanger. What a spot to leave him at.
I did that on purpose.
Yeah. Uh, but yeah, that's it. That's the reading. That's the plot. It only took an hour.
So yeah, at this point, Edmund has to survive being thrown into the sea, and he has to survive this jailbreak, which we know that he does because otherwise this wouldn't be a very good book. And he has to do some different things. So what do you think he's going to do? The obvious thought process is that he is going to go for freedom, but also to try to get this treasure.
Mm-hmm. And figuring out how he does that is crazy. Yeah, no one ever escaped from Chateau d'If.
Mm-mm.
And if you did, no, I don't think anybody ever broke
I don't
out.
think they ever did, yeah.
Yeah. Like Alcatraz. Alcatraz, I think someone broke out of it, but was never seen again. And they probably died.
And they believe that that person died, yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay. That's the plot. I think real quick we can get into some themes from this section.
Hold on 1 second before we go into themes. Let's talk questions. What things did you not understand about this and still don't understand even after our discussion? Chateau d'If is just the name. It's French.
Yeah. If you're in French class, this book might be a little bit easier for you.
Oh, thank you, Logan, for that knowledge. I did not know that.
Cool.
But I know you guys some of you were confused, and so what I'm trying to figure out is if you're still confused or if you understand things a little bit better. And actually, maybe you should start typing up your questions rather than us waiting for them. Here's what we'll do. We'll talk about themes for a couple of minutes, and then we'll come back to your questions. So type your questions out right now, and then we'll come back to them. But yeah, let's go on and talk about themes then.
All right. Let's see. The first one, there's like 5 main ones, I think, that apply to this book that we can discuss pretty in depth. The first one, let's say it's justice. Villefort, he's like the personification of justice so far. He's like the head attorney, the top cop, and he doesn't mete it out very well. He doesn't, what's the word?
Distribute
Justice. I mean, at all that we've seen. He's very corrupt. He's looking to help himself out before the truth of Edmund's innocence
is
gets
justice
anywhere.
Always just?
Yeah. I mean, that's, in this case, like, stuff like this still happens. Like, innocent people get sent to jail all the time just because of lazy police work or
corruption.
Lawyers like this, like, oh, if this gets out, then I'm not going to be able to get it promoted or something like that.
Okay. So that would be justice, and I don't want to get too far onto justice because basically the story is about Edmund trying to get justice for
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And it gets a lot of fun. Happiness is another theme. I think that's kind of broad. Like, uh, I guess just talking about Edmund, does he deserve it? Like, why or why not? And uh,
Who deserves
what does, yeah, who deserves it? Like, what makes you deserve happiness? That's like things I think. Like, yeah, Edmund's a good dude, but if his ship sank and he lost everything, like, does he deserve that? It just happens.
Yeah. Do we always deserve what we get?
Yeah,
Just sometimes do you get things that you don't deserve?
yeah. And happiness, like Villefort, going back to him taking away Edmund's happiness secured his own.
Yeah.
Is that okay? Like, if you're looking out for number one, which is kind of like the American way, like look out for yourself above everybody else, then it should be a-okay for Villefort to do that because he's just ensuring his own future.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's obviously not. So where do you meet that?
Yeah.
All right, next one, vengeance. We're just getting started. Edmund is very upset in prison. Like, he is still his same old forgiving self for the first 6 years, and then for the next 8, he just gets madder and madder and madder.
Yep.
Which is vengeance is the opposite of forgiveness, which is the next theme. We talked a lot about how forgiving Edmund is, how much of a great guy he is, how much I wanted to be like him and just be able to forgive everybody and just see the good in them. But that's another one that will get much more in depth as we move on.
Yep.
And I think a big one for this section, powerlessness. Uh, just man, what's the word I'm thinking of? Just not being able to do anything. Everything is out of your control, and there's no reason.
Yeah. Well, even if we just if we go back to the basic of that word, the base of that word of just power. Who has the power? Who doesn't have the power? If you don't have the power, can you get the power? Or are you completely powerless?
Mm-hmm. If you're born poor, you can be poor forever. Is money the root of power?
Yeah, then we start getting into all sorts of other things. So basically, power is huge because, yeah. Oh, I can't say too much.
Yeah, no. Like, all I can do now is just ask broad questions about these
Oh.
themes. It's just like, well, keep this in mind, I guess, for the next 400 pages.
Yeah, really keep these 5 themes in mind as you read. Um, things are going to get very interesting in the book that over the course of the next, 80-ish pages or the next section of reading. You're going to meet a lot of different characters that we have not met before because it's been,
Life goes on.
life goes on. It's been 14 years since Edmund went to jail. So remember, Mercedes said that she was going to love Edmund forever, and no matter what happened, she would love him for her whole life. Does that mean that she stays single? Or
Does she go to a nunnery? Does she?
yeah. Yeah, I mean, you got to think about what you think these other characters that were left behind in the story would be up to
Yeah.
before you read.
Yeah. And that's kind of what this week's assignment is. We'll go into it a little bit more at the end of this video. But yeah, it's making predictions. Where do you think all these people are 14 years later?
Yeah. So, and you have to imagine, like, what does Edmund imagine has happened to these people over the course of the 14 years?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, cool. Should we get into these questions?
Yeah, I see a few of them in here.
What does Deef mean? Of Eve.
It's just, I think that's just the name of it.
Yeah, it'd
I don't know
be.
what it actually means.
I think. Yeah. 3 people. Sorry.
Max, I want to go back to clarify. His dad gave him the letter that got him in trouble, or his captain did?
So the captain gave him the letter to deliver to Napoleon.
Let's not use him. Let's use names.
Okay. The captain gave Edmond Dantes the letter to give to Napoleon. Napoleon gave him the letter to give to Noirtier.
And that's the letter he was found with.
Right.
There was a third letter that basically said, go check him out because he's got this evidence on him.
Yeah.
This letter on him.
Dantes' dad has nothing to do with the conspiracy.
Dantes' dad doesn't know anything about it. There was no letter. He was not there. And Villefort's dad, Noirtier, doesn't know anything about the letter either, because it never actually got to him.
Will the rest of the story just be about Dantes, or will it go back and forth between him and the king and the other people? It goes back and forth between just about every character.
Yes. There's be more side stories and things like that. Think of it like a soap opera. If you've ever watched a soap opera, or like Grey's Anatomy or something like that, where you've got one storyline going on with certain characters and then another storyline going on with other characters, like there's going to be a whole storyline with the Morels. Not just with the dad Morel, but with his kids who are now adults.
Yep.
So
yeah, that does get very confusing, but you just need to take it slow and pay attention to who the author brings up in each chapter. Like some chapters, there'll be like 5 in a row all about one character, and then it'll switch to a different character and then go back to that first character. Yeah. So you just read it slow, pay attention. That's like really the only thing you can do.
The question is, Monte Cristo and Edmund related?
Guess you'll have to see.
Yep, you're gonna have to read and see.
Charlie just woke up. Cool. So he's less mad in prison than he is when he's free. No, when he first gets to prison, he's confident that it will all be taken care of. It was just a mistake. Whoever sent the letter, like it was just a mistake. He's still very forgiving. And for the first 6 years, he puts his faith in God, and he's like, God, just get me out of this. We'll be able to get out of this. I'm sure it was just a mistake. Everybody's all good. But then eventually he gets very, very mad and is full of, he just gets mad and starts thinking of what he can do to get back at the people who put him in this place, if he ever can.
Max, I am going to beat you.
What?
Look what Max wrote.
His dad just chills and is old and poor?
No, go to the bottom.
Oh, am I not at the bottom?
Oh.
Oh, I can't.
It says Dantes turns into the Count. Ha 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 ha.
Oh.
Oh, you guessed. I thought you were doing a split. Well, great.
You can edit that out. Send it to Garrett. Sorry, I just woke up. Don't care. Nunnery is a place where you go to become a nun. What are the next assigned pages chapters? It's
go back up. Hold on. There's a question. What are the 5 themes again?
Justice, happiness, vengeance, forgiveness, and powerlessness.
Okay, then you can go. What are the next assigned
Oh,
pages?
the next assigned pages, it's in the book, let's see. In print, it's 80 to 61, chapters 13 through 22. On the
80 to
online,
161.
yeah. Online, it is chapters 13 through 38, and the audiobook is chapters 13 to 22.
I know we said that fast, but you can go on to Teams and find the calendar there as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, one of the things we're going to ask you to do to kind of help you on your with the understanding of this book and to help us show us that you're thinking about this book is we're going to ask you to make some predictions about what you think happened to the characters over the course of the 14 years.
Yep. You need to do this before you read chapters. What is it? I have it written. 26 in the online version or 16 in the print and audiobook one, because those are the chapters where it actually tell you what's happened.
Yeah, so basically what I would suggest doing just to make it easier on yourself is stop where you're at, make your predictions on the worksheet that is on Teams,
Mm-hmm.
and then as you read the next assignment, you will find out what actually happened to these people.
Yes. And that is up on Teams now.
Cameron, make an educated guess. If you had to go back, what do you think you would have thought?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I put that in the instructions on Teams as well.
I know some of you guys read ahead, so how are you supposed to do that? Well,
it's hard not to read ahead, so
it is hard not to read ahead.
Yeah. Yeah, if you have any questions about that, I'd say post it to the Honors English 2 team, and we can answer it on there so everybody can see it.
Yeah. And if you come up with other questions or things
Or theories.
Or theories or anything else that you want to share, you absolutely can. You can share them on Teams, get a conversation going. Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. I also posted up the short stories for this week. The one from the book is called The Grasshopper and the Bell Cricket. There's a little worksheet to go along with that, and the supplementary one is called The Dog Catcher. It's really fun. Yeah. We'll be doing the short story Friday on the bell, the cricket, the grasshopper, and the bell cricket. Friday at 11. And if you want to talk about the dog catcher, let me know, and we'll do that. We'll do a live discussion on that if there's enough interest.
Yeah,
I'm really excited about that one. I hope y'all like that one.
Yeah, if there's enough interest. Turns out Mr. Elster's friend actually wrote the dog catcher.
Yeah. So he said if he's available, he would get on the discussion with us and talk about like his writing process and stuff. He's been published a couple of times. He's a real good writer.
Yeah, so there's a possibility of that happening as well if there's interest.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to do What Up Wednesday because I know some of you guys just want to socialize. So there will be a live stream on Wednesday. I know I've had a request. Cameron made the request that we do some way of doing the line game, and I don't really know how to go about doing that, but I'm going to think it over.
What is the line game?
Oh, you don't know the line game. I guess you haven't been around for the line game.
Oh, we can talk about it later.
Yeah. I'll have to explain it to you.
Yeah, no worries. Well, cool.
Yep. So What Up Wednesday is happening Wednesday at 11. If you want to join in on that, that will be less academic and more socialization. Theo says the assignment isn't on Teams.
Yeah, I see. Should be now. Or maybe it's not. I don't know.
So
It should be. It should be soon. I literally just hit publish, so should be soon.
let me look and see here. Assignments.
It's called Predict the Future.
Ooh, that's weird. Yes, it's in there now. It's in, if you go to the top in the assignments tab, it's called Predict the Future.
Yep.
So
I should have changed that. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. Are we done then?
I think we're done. Any
Cool.
other questions? All right. If you've got problems or questions that come up, you know how to get a hold of us. Otherwise, have a good Monday and get outside and enjoy the sunshine.
For real. I'm not going to be inside the rest of the day. I'm done with work.
Yeah. So get outside, enjoy the sunshine. It's supposed to be sunny the next couple days, sunny and warm. So enjoy it while we can.
Heck yeah. Stay true. One love. Be safe. Wash your hands. Don't forget to floss.
All right. See you later, kids.
Peace.